So you're thinking about making a move to the Boise, Idaho area, but where in particular do you want to live? If you want to be in Boise proper, the actual city, there are all sorts of different boroughs and neighborhoods that you need to choose from. Is Hidden Springs going to be the best fit? What about the Boise Bench, West Boise? Do you want to be out in Southeast Boise? What about the North End? You need to know what all of these names mean. If they mean nothing to you right now, that is okay. You are in the right place. Today, I'm going to take you on a deep dive of some of those neighborhoods that you need to know about in Boise proper. And this is going to be part one of a full deep dive that we're going to do together of everything that you need to know about the Boise, Idaho area and what each of these almost sub-cities really mean for you and your family. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chase Dolan, and today we're going to spend some time doing a pretty thorough exploration of Boise, Idaho itself, Boise proper, but we're really going to spend some time dissecting the different neighborhoods, boroughs, whatever you want to call them, throughout Boise, because I want to give you the best possible context and exploration overview of each of these areas, because they're going to offer very distinct things. And some of them are going to match what you're looking for a little bit more than others. Same thing on the other side with a little bit less than others. So when we're looking at Boise in particular, Boise takes up so much geographical space that there are going to be some pretty distinct options throughout. But when you're looking at this, if you just want to live in Boise, if that's the city that we determine is going to be the best fit for you, we're going to want to narrow in next on, okay, what are a few different areas or parts of town that you're going to want to look at? There's a few different factors that I always go through, and we're kind of looking at, okay, does this work best for you and your family? What's going to be the best fit, especially if you haven't been here before? We're going to look, of course, at the lifestyle that's offered. This is going to be everything from kind of what's close, what's going to be the best restaurants, the best medical care, all of the services that you need. But it's also going to be, okay, where is it actually located? Being up here in Hidden Springs, Dry Creek Ranch, you are right outside into the foothills within a couple of minutes. Is hiking a big deal to you? Because that proximity could really make it to where your walks with your dog every single day aren't around your neighborhood. You're actually able to get up into the hills. If that doesn't matter to you as much, and you want to be really close to various restaurants, kind of be able to walk and bike everywhere, the Boise Bench might shoot up your list a little bit more than other parts of town. The next one, of course, is going to be budget. If you're coming to me with a budget of, let's say, $500,000, there's going to be certain parts of town that are just not realistic. But also, when we're looking at your budget, we have to look at what are your needs and what kind of home are you looking for. If you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-car garage, you want 2,700 square feet, so you want a pretty good sized home, that's going to cost you a certain amount in the Boise Bench, but it might cost you more over here towards Barber Valley. The North End will probably be about the most expensive that you'll find out here. That's where we're going to be able to narrow in on, okay, where can you get the most bang for your buck? Where are you going to get the amenities that you're looking for? And what's that perfect balance? We're going to talk today about downtown. We're going to talk about everything that downtown Boise has to offer. But of course, we're going to talk about the condos, the different development opportunities if you actually want to live in downtown. We're going to come up and talk about the North End right here, right outside of downtown, one of the most appealing places that people always kind of fall in love with here in the area. We're going to spend a good amount of time talking about the Highlands up here, and then we're going to talk about Dry Creek Ranch, Hidden Springs, Cartwright Ranch up there. One of the most unique areas in town. So make sure you stay for that one, because that is a hidden gem that people don't always think about. We're going to start right here in the center of downtown Boise. So when we're talking about downtown, we're really going to be looking at, let me get my little pin back here, kind of out here before we get into West End, before the North End, and then all the way out Avenue B, kind of shooting up, and then pretty much using the river as the kind of last border. Everything down here is going to be your classic downtown. So this is going to be what you expect a urban center to kind of look like, but on a very minor scale. If you're coming from any sort of big city, Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, downtown Boise is going to feel like a suburb of your big city. But here, this is going to be our kind of big urban center. So this is where you're going to find a lot of bars and restaurants. You're going to find hotels. This is where our sporting events happen. It's a really cool place to be. There's a few things that I want to highlight. Just down by the river, because again, one of the big pros of our area is the Boise River does run through our entire city. The Boise River is just outside of downtown. You're going to see a bunch of these really big parks throughout. You're going to have the military reserve just off to the side. When you're zooming in here, 8th Street right here is one of my favorite parts of downtown, because right now they have it set up, as you can see, it's not an actual street anymore on the map. They have it set up where this is mostly just pedestrian walkways. So all of these restaurants have expanded out. You can see it here a little bit on their little picture. They've expanded their patios out, and now it's going to be just much more of that kind of city walkable lifestyle that people are looking for. Now, to give you a little bit of insight into the types of homes and living situations that are available to you in downtown itself, we're going to hop over here to Zillow, and I'm just going to show you a few of the different options. So, of course, in downtown, you're going to find a lot more kind of condo opportunities. You're not going to find as many single family homes because it's a downtown city center. That's not the atmosphere that you're going to find. Over on the side, though, you can see we have got some condos here, 728 square feet. It's just outside of downtown. You can see the Capitol right there. This one's going to be this guy right here, 420,000. But they can get up all the way to this guy at 1.8 million. So you're going to have some of these luxury condos that are available out here. They're going to be located right downtown. You're going to have the luxury finishes, great view, big windows. A lot of really cool opportunities. But again, you're going to see a pretty big range in the cost of these condos throughout. Once you start to explore out, you're going to see that here in West End, you're going to have some explorations. As we get towards this area, kind of right between roughly, I always use kind of Washington here towards Fort. This is where we see downtown kind of morph into the North End. So this is where you're going to find a little bit more of these single family opportunities. Let's hop into this one. 1.395. This is a mixed use development, it looks like. But that's where you're going to start to see some of those single family opportunities happen, but you're also going to see that they were adapted into businesses over time. Just sliding in here to remind you that I am a licensed agent up here in the Boise, Idaho area. So whether you're making a move in 9 days, 9 months, I do not care. Call, text, email. If there's a way that I can help, I would absolutely love to. And make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. That way you are the first to know everything that there is to know about the Boise, Idaho area. Let's hop back in. A few of the things that make the North End a really appealing place to live are going to be the proximity to downtown. So like I talked about, there's not a lot of single family housing in downtown Boise itself, but if you want to be within walking distance of coffee shops, restaurants, everything here in the heart of downtown, but you want a little bit bigger home, you want to have a fence and a private yard, you want a garage, whatever it is, you're looking for a little bit more of that classic single family home. The North End offers really great proximity to where if you're down here in Hyde Park, for example, this kind of street walking up, you could probably walk from Hyde Park into downtown Boise within about 15 minutes. Of course, driving, biking is going to get you there just in a few minutes, but that's one of the main draws of this part of town. Like I just talked about though, Hyde Park is going to be a big draw just down 13th Street. This is where you're going to find a ton of great restaurants. You're going to find bars. You're going to find a coffee shop. It's going to have Goodies, which is a really cool kind of ice cream candy shop located right in Hyde Park. As you get out of Hyde Park, if you continue up here towards the north part of the North End, you're going to see Camel's Back, the big park. There's tennis courts. There's the incline, but it's kind of the gateway to a ton of the trails up here towards Hulls Gulch, kind of out into more of the wilderness. This road right here is one that I like to highlight because it is one of the most prestigious and sought after streets in the entire valley. We don't have a lot of roads here that have kind of a historical nature to them that people tend to know and really have like an admiration for. Harrison Boulevard's going to be one of those. So they do basically this entire strip of the North End. It's going to be tree-lined streets with these big estate, well taken care of homes. Right down the center of this, as you can kind of see here, if I can pop you into this guy, here we go. Okay, you can't really see it with all the trees, but right here, you're going to see this big median that's going to have these really mature, big, gorgeous trees all the way down. When you're looking at Harrison Boulevard, a couple of things that really stand out are, of course, the quality of the home, and you get to live on Harrison Boulevard, but also during Halloween time, they do a big trick-or-treating area where they'll actually kind of restrict traffic for a little bit. They'll do a ton of Christmas lights, and it's a really cool place to drive up and down with your kids. Harrison Boulevard is just one of those places that the street name carries a little bit of weight up here. On the real estate front, where we're looking at where your budget can go here in the North End, the North End is going to be one of the most expensive neighborhoods in all of the Treasure Valley. This is because of that proximity, the amenities, and just the overall vibe and feel of the neighborhood itself. It is a very walkable, it's a very bike-friendly place. It has a lot of that mature landscaping. Homes, you're going to see a big range of some really small, older homes that haven't really been updated over the years, all the way up to these massive, brand new kind of luxury homes on these really nice lots. As we zoom in on the North End here, I just want to kind of show you a couple of the examples here. Oh, come on. So here you're going to see you can have a home around 1.15. This is a 3,600 square foot home. That is pretty large, especially for the North End. This is also going to be a place, depending on where you're coming from, if you really like basements, the North End is going to have a lot of those because some of the homes are older. You're going to have some of these that still have that nice craftsman charm. It's just an area of town that's going to have really unique homes next to each other. It's not a subdivision where you're just going to have same 10 floor plans throughout. You're going to have some up here, 1.26, 1 million, 1.4, 1.5, 2.3. You are going to have some over here. This is just a lot, so that's going to be 440,000. So it kind of shows you that overall, if you're looking in the North End area, so this is going to be one near 500,000, little 925 square foot home with a garage. The North End is not going to be the place if you're really looking to make your budget stretch as far as you can. But if you're looking for a pretty unique lifestyle, you want that access to the outdoors, but also that access to downtown, North End's going to be pretty hard to beat. And this is an example of one of the Harrison Boulevard homes with the pool in the backyard, surrounded by all of that gorgeous landscaping, luxury touches throughout. If you want a top of the line house, Harrison Boulevard is going to be a pretty great place to look. Okay, but leaving the North End, I'm going to take you up a little bit further. Like I said, the North End is basically going to end on Hill Road right here-ish. Up to the north of it is really where we're going to find kind of a neighborhood or borough called the Highlands. When I'm talking about the Highlands, I'm really looking at this north part of downtown, but we're going to be back in the foothills. So this is going to be really anything that's kind of back in this area. Boise Hills Village, I kind of include in here. All of this is going to have a distinct kind of Highlands feel. All of the streets are going to be pretty steep. You're going to have kind of homes that have views depending on which side of the street that you're on. It's a really cool place to live. As we zoom in, you're going to see here kind of coming up Harrison Boulevard, you're going to have kind of some services, restaurants, places to go. Hawkins Pack out here isn't going to look like anything special, but they have got a killer burger. They've got some great tots, fries, shakes. But the really big thing here that people do really like, they serve them every single morning, is they have some of the best breakfast burritos in the entire valley. So somewhere to go check out. As you come up here, up Bogus Basin, you're going to see Harrison Hollow. This kind of gets you out to, again, some more trails, Hillside to Hollow Reserve. Everything here on the outside of downtown, we go into the foothills. I talk about it a lot on the channel, so I'm not going to get too far down there, but you are just a few minutes from some of the best hiking that we have in the area. Going up Bogus Basin, this road will take you all the way up to Bogus Basin itself, the ski resort that we have just about 45 minutes outside of downtown. You're going to come up and you're going to start to see all of these streets kind of branch off. All of these up here are going to have a really diverse type of home, but you're going to have some really old homes that have a lot of that character, mature landscaping, but you're also going to have some new subdivisions popping up kind of out in this part of town. As you kind of can see, there's these little areas throughout that don't really have any streets kind of going through them. They kind of look like just this different color. A big portion of this is going to be that Crane Creek, the country club, actually sits right here at the kind of mouth of the Highlands. But when I switch over to this, you're going to see that a lot of it is the country club and the golf course running through. Something that I'm not sure you're able to see on this screen, but one of the cool parts of the Highlands is it's going to allow you that opportunity for, again, those views. As we start to come out of downtown Boise, you're going to get up here into the foothills and you're going to see the Highlands starting to stretch out here. Depending on what side of the road you're on, you're of course going to have some views of any of these directions. The foothills, you might have some of downtown. But the cool part with having the golf course run through is the golf course is actually located below all of these homes. So you're actually going to have basically this hill right here, kind of taking a pretty steep incline down into the golf course itself. So these homes are all going to have a killer view. These homes are all going to have it kind of running up and down. This neighborhood up here, Highlands Cove, is a really cool and exciting opportunity. If you're looking for kind of that custom home, you're going to be in the mid 1 to 2 million kind of range, depending on what you're looking for. But this is one of the best parts of town because you're going to get a killer view looking out towards downtown while still having kind of that new home in that proximity to downtown Boise. Crane Creek itself is going to have all sorts of different things. It's a country club, so it's a private club, but anybody can join. It has no restrictions on where you're living, anything along those lines. They've got a clubhouse, they've got a pool, they've got a big golf course, as you can see. They've got the pro shop, they've got a tennis shop. It's actually a place I worked there as a server during college. Really cool place. People tend to really love it. They're actually having a big renovation happen right now to kind of add to it. So if that's something that you're looking for, Crane Creek's going to be one of the best in this part of town. As you start to go back up, you're going to start to see that the Highlands have these little neighborhoods kind of tucked back. So if you're looking for somewhere that's going to have a view, you're going to want a little bit more privacy. The Boise Highlands are going to be one of the best places to look. But let's hop over to that real estate. We're going to come up here into the Highlands. So I'm going to show you a few different ones because I want you to get a little bit of the grasp of the diversity that you're going to find up here, depending on when the home was built, where it is, the view that it has. So as you can see here, we're going to have some $3 million homes. This one's going to be 7,000 square feet. You're going to see a killer view, big windows, luxury kitchen. The high end here in the Highlands is going to be somewhere where you're going to find something that you're going to absolutely love. All the way up here in Hackberry Ridge, this is actually a 33-acre parcel for that development. So heck, if you want to come out and you want to actually build something, give me a call. You're going to see some more up there, but let's focus down here in the Highlands. So this is a good example of the type of home that you're going to find. Listed just below $850,000. This one's going to have that 2-car garage here. Let's get clicked in. There we go. It's going to have the brick exterior. You're going to have the big lot here. No homes kind of peeking out into your back with the mature landscaping and the way that it's going to be kind of throughout the hill. As you're looking at the landscaping, you're going to see here what I'm talking about being built into the hill. You're either going to have this at the back of your house or you're going to have it at the front of your house, depending on which side of the street that you're on. This is part of the reason why a lot of the new construction up in this area is going to be a little bit more expensive because you actually have to get a hillside permit. There's extra construction, retaining walls, all of that popping in. So if you're looking at building a home in somewhere like this in the foothills, just know that that's going to be an added cost of, okay, when you're kind of budgeting things out, you're going to want to leave a little bit of a cushion there for those kinds of just extra things that are necessary so your house doesn't just fall down the hill. This one's built in 1965 to give you a little bit of a reference. As we come out here, you're going to see this is going to be some of those lots that I talked about. Basically, in this part of town, my guess most of the time is if you want to be in the Highlands, you're going to want to be in that at least $700 to $800 price point, if not higher, depending on what you're looking for. Again, not the budget-friendly area of town, but it's in the middle of the foothills. what we're looking for if you're going to spend that amount of money is we want something that you're not going to be able to find somewhere else. And now to wrap it up, I'm going to take you out to the one that I'm honestly super excited to share with you here. We're actually going to head out through. I'm going to show you a little bit of the drive that we took out. Let's get rid of the terrain. There we go. We were just over here in the Highlands. You can take these roads kind of throughout all the way into the back to get out to what we're going to talk about here, Hidden Springs and Cartwright and Dry Creek Ranch. If we start to zoom in here, kind of coming through the foothills, again, you're going to have all of these trailheads, everything just in your back door. But Hidden Springs up here is going to offer one of the most unique neighborhoods that I've really ever seen. As we've been expanding out, you'll notice that our development typically kind of pushes itself out. There's going to be subdivisions here. There's going to be another subdivision right next door. We're seeing it on this part of town. They kind of build out block by block. Being in the foothills, Hidden Springs has been able to kind of separate itself from downtown and become kind of a self-sufficient community in a way. They have their own mercantile shop. They have some restaurants. They have its own fire department. They're actually building a couple more kind of like breweries. They got the post office. They have a Rib Shack barbecue tucked back here on Cartwright Ranch. This is a part of town that if you want a very, very unique, serene setting, I would highly recommend taking a look back here. Zooming in on Hidden Springs, you're going to see that this is the part of town right here where you're going to have a lot of those services, the commercial, the mercantile shop. Rib Shack barbecue, again, way out here, kind of on its lonesome. But as you come down in this part, this is going to be Hidden Springs Drive that goes all the way through all of these neighborhoods. Right here, you're going to find a little bit more of that cottage style alley load home, a little bit smaller, really nice homes, but it's all about the walkability. It's all about being able to bike, get to wherever you need to go. You're going to have a community barn here for events. One of my wife's cousins had their graduation party out there. It's a nice spot that's available to anybody in the community. As you continue to move up, you're going to see that it's going to turn into a lot more of the classic single family housing, but again, having a little bit of that almost downtown community feel where you're not going to have these expansive garages, these expansive lots. Everything's going to be, again, set up to be that community. As you start to come down here, you're going to get into more of a classic subdivision setup. This is going to take you into Cartwright Ranch down here, which is going to be a Brighton community. I talk about Brighton communities a lot on here. So you're going to have Brighton, Alturas, James, Clyde. Cartwright Ranch has a very different level of home than we see in a lot of their communities, purely because, again, we're going to get to it in a second, the price point that's out here. But Hidden Springs in its own has a very unique feel to it. So they've adapted some of their floor plans, kind of the way they set up their community to really match that. And then up here, if you're looking for, again, being separated a little bit more, but you liked what I was saying about the actual foothills, the Highlands living, you're going to see up here, if I can get my little pencil, all of these homes are going to be kind of single streets going out with views on both sides. So all of this is going to be a little bit lower. You're going to have some killer views of, at this point, you're all throughout the foothills. You might get some all the way of downtown, depending on how high on the foothill you're going to be. But that kind of range in Hidden Springs itself, pretty tough to beat. But it is, when we kind of zoom back out, you are going to be about a 20-minute drive into either Eagle here or into Boise itself. Now, taking a move over to this part of town, we're going to talk a little bit about Dry Creek Ranch. So Dry Creek Ranch is a neighborhood. It's a Boise Hunter Homes development. They have done a massive, massive developmental project out here. So as you can see, they have got a ton of homes already built. It's a big subdivision. They've got a big pool. They've got a community garden. They've got places for horses. Dry Creek Ranch, really the whole thought of it was to be, again, kind of that self-sufficient community while being right outside of downtown and offering that higher level of living. So when I'm looking at neighborhoods around town, especially people relocating, this is an area that every time somebody sets up their roots in here, they find a community that they absolutely love out here. Everybody has their razors or their side-by-sides and they shoot around. You're going to be located just a couple of minutes away from Shadow Valley Golf Course. These dirt areas here that you're going to see are actually the next phases of Dry Creek Ranch itself. So down here on the bottom, you're going to have the hills at Dry Creek Ranch. So these are going to be, again, some view homes, depending on where you're at. Over here is going to be the estates, and these are going to be bigger lots. So these are going to be an acre lots. These are going to be the ones where if you really want that space, you're getting that luxury level home, but you don't want to have neighbors really at all. You want a little bit more, again, of that separation. This is going to be a place that you're going to want to look. Okay, and hopping back over to Zillow to show you a little bit of the real estate out here. Dry Creek Ranch and Hidden Springs, they are very, very unique places to live. You're right in the middle of the foothills, but also the level of home that's out there is pretty killer. So this isn't going to be, again, a place where you're really going to see your budget stretch all that far. Out here towards kind of the view homes of Hidden Springs, you can see they're up more in the foothills up here. You're going to see some of the, let's click on this guy, being at 3 million. But you're going to have a 5,000 square foot home. As you kind of look in here, you're going to have massive lot. You're going to have a ton of separation from everybody. This is a converted homestead, it looks like. So you're going to have opportunities like this that you just don't find everywhere, especially in Boise itself. But as we come over to some of these guys, this is going to be, again, for anybody that's watched anything on my channel, you're going to recognize some of this. This is going to be all tourists. This one's listed at 1.5. So what I always talk about is how you might get the same home in different parts of town, but there's going to be different costs associated with that just because of the appealing nature of certain places over others, land value, whatever. In Cartwright Ranch up here, you're going to find that their homes are going to be a little bit more expensive than Eagle, than South Meridian, purely because of the level of finishes that they use. But also, I want to get you out to the backyard. Come on. They're not going to show the backyard. Also, with where this one is going to be located, you can hopefully see it a little bit here. You have nobody behind you, so you get a killer view of the entire foothills landscape. It is a one-of-a-kind place to live. In Hidden Springs, you're going to have some of these ones that are quote-unquote a little bit older. So 2007, again, 2,900 square feet. You're going to have some high-end finishes. You're going to be on a third of an acre lot, but again, 1.15. And then shifting over to Dry Creek Ranch, this is where you're going to see, again, nothing super low, dropping under, I would say, 700,000-800,000 in this part of town, but you are going to have some of these higher end homes. So if you're looking for that luxury build, if you're looking for that estate lot up here, let's go ahead and click in to one of these. This is going to give you an example of what that estate is going to look like. So you're going to have not any neighbors right next to you. You're going to be on a 1 acre lot, 3,700 square feet. You're going to have a big, big front yard. You're going to have a big backyard going into the foothills themselves. You're going to have opportunities for RV garage, whatever you want on slots like this, but you are going to pay for it being at around 2.1 million. And as we come over here, this is going to be the hills. So the hills are going to be a little bit more affordable, quote unquote, purely because the lots over here are going to be a little bit more of that classic suburban size. So you're going to have opportunities down here in the mid 800s. Again, I can't talk highly enough about Dry Creek Ranch and Hidden Springs in general, but it is going to be a higher level price point. So like I've said throughout this video, because we started with some of the most expensive places here today, living in Boise is only going to let your budget stretch so far. So when we get into Southeast Boise, Boise Bench in the next one, that's where you're going to see a little bit more of those affordable opportunities dropping down towards the median price point of around 500,000. There's just going to be a more wide array of the price points that you're going to find. Okay, and that's going to be part one of diving into some of the neighborhoods around Boise, Idaho. The ones that we talked about today were Hidden Springs, Dry Creek Ranch. We talked about the Highlands. We talked about the North End up here. And then we talked about downtown. A quick recap on what each of these areas might offer you is if you're looking for close proximity to everything, you might be living alone. You might be a young professional. You might just not care about having a yard. Whatever it is, living in downtown Boise, you're not going to beat that commute anywhere, but you are going to be restricted to condos. You're going to be restricted to potentially a little bit higher price point if you want that luxury condo, and you're not going to have your garage, you're not going to have your yard, anything along those lines. There is going to be a little bit more of a spread. You're going to find some condos starting in that mid 400,000s, and then you can find condos all the way up into the 2 millions. If you want that feel and that proximity, but you want a little bit more of that classic home feel, the North End is going to be a great place. You're going to have Hyde Park, Camel's Back Park, Harrison Boulevard. The North End has all of the access out to the foothills, but on the other end, it has access to downtown itself, kind of one of the best pockets in the entire Treasure Valley. Going out to the Highlands, if you don't care as much about proximity to downtown, but you still want to be in Boise, be in shouting distance of everything, but you want that view, you want that privacy, you don't want just that classic neighborhood feel. Whether you're looking for a home that's a little bit older and has some character, some mature landscaping, or you want to build your own home. Maybe you're really into golfing and being close to a country club is going to be pretty prime for you. The Highlands, again, is going to be pretty hard to beat. And then if you're looking for ultimate kind of privacy, you want your own community that isn't in the middle of traffic every day, you're okay driving 15 to 20 minutes on a regular basis to get to grocery stores, things along those lines. Hidden Springs, Dry Creek Ranch, Cartwright Ranch are going to be some of the best hidden gems in the entire Treasure Valley. And especially if you're relocating and you're trying to find a community of people who have either relocated themselves, whatever it is, this is going to be a place that I constantly urge people to check out, because everybody that lives there absolutely loves the people that they live with, and they really find their circle of people up here pretty quick. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that you learned something about some of these areas here in the Boise, Idaho area. When you're relocating to a place, like I said, you tend to always gravitate towards the big cities, and then from there, you really have to narrow in a little bit, and that's where my main focus for you is. I want to try my best to avoid for you to move out here wanting to live in Boise proper, not really sure what each of these subsections mean, and then you end up regretting your move and you want to move to a different part of town just a year or so later. And like I said in the intro, this is just part one of a full deep dive that we're going to do together. So depending on when you're watching this, either stay tuned later for the next video, or go ahead and click on it up here at the top. And if you have any questions about any of these neighborhoods or just relocating to Boise in general, all of my information is down below. I would love to chat with you. Call, text, email, schedule a Zoom directly on my calendar. Whatever works best for you. If there's a way that I can help, I would absolutely love to. But until then, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one.